Hi lovelies, welcome back. So today I'm going to talk a bit about rumination. And it's thanks to somebody who emailed me and said, hey, I found that when I came across the principles, rumination was just something that I didn't do much of. And I think that's a really important missing piece. And I totally agreed. So that's why we're going to talk about it a little bit today. Because like so many things, and like if you've watched my videos, you've heard me say this almost on a weekly basis, I'm sure. But human beings do the absolute best we can given how we understand life, given how we understand reality, given how we understand our thinking. We're doing our best given how life looks to us. So when people don't realize that the mind works better in receptive mode, what I mean by that is the mind works better when it's allowed to be kind of open and free and kind of just wandering, not really thinking about anything in particular, in a really kind of relaxed, expansive state. That's when new ideas come to us effortlessly. That's when we get the aha moments, or we see a solution that previously we didn't see, or something fresh comes through. Those happen when the mind is just allowed to kind of be in its natural state, just to hang out, not to be kind of used. How many of us, however, tend to use our minds is how we've been taught to use our minds, which is in a way that requires a lot of analysis, a lot of evaluation, a lot of thinking, a lot of kind of data processing and analysis. And that is not the receptive way of using the mind. That's the kind of active or proactive way of using the mind. And that's where rumination comes in, is we've been taught that ruminating is how we get to what we want to get. So if it's an answer we're looking for, people will say, well, have you tried thinking about it? Have you tried brainstorming it? Have you tried talking about it a lot? Have you tried journaling about it? Have you tried, all of these things to get us to kind of crunch it in our mind and use our mind in that deliberate way? And it's the same reason that we worry. Because a lot of us who are worriers, we worry simply because we think that that's how we're going to get to safety or to comfort or to answers or to, in some cases, with people with really bad anxiety, survival. If I don't worry about this, this is literally going to be the death of me or the death of people I love or cause a serious accident or, So we worry to the extent that we think worry is a helpful way of using our mind. Same as we ruminate on things to the degree that we think that's a helpful way of using the mind. And the answer to worry, to rumination, to having an evaluative kind of analytical stance towards life, all of that comes and changes when we start to see that's actually not the most effective way to use the mind. That when a mind is left to its own devices, when it's left to be kind of open and free and kind of like almost on vacation mode. And you'll notice that you can be on a literal vacation and not be in vacation mode, meaning you're in the place that you've decided to take a vacation and yet thinking about all the things and what you should be doing and the emails you need to get to. And, we've all had moments like that. We've all had weekends or vacations that don't feel like weekends or vacations. And we've also had moments where it hasn't been a weekend or it hasn't been a vacation. It could be, Tuesday at 11 a.m. and you just find yourself in vacation mode. You find yourself with a very free and open mind. You find yourself not really thinking about anything in particular. That doesn't mean thoughts aren't coming in. They are, but they're flowing like a river. They're coming in and giving you an experience and leaving. And everything has this natural flow and movement and kind of grace to it. And the beautiful thing is that we don't need it to be a certain day of the week, and we don't need to be in a certain beautiful, sunny, tropical destination for us to allow our mind to just be relaxed and hang out. A lot of people will say, well, I get my best ideas in the shower. Well, that's because a lot of people, when they're in the shower, tend not to be crunching and thinking and analyzing their day or their to-do list or their problems or the future or the past. They just kind of hang out, have a shower. And that's when ideas come, solutions come. That's when we start to see the receptive capability of the mind at work. And when we don't know that we can do that, or that we have that, or that it's kind of our hidden superpower, that if you leave the mind alone, cool things come to you, new things come to you, fresh things come to you, that when you're not so busy thinking things, you just got a flow of new, fresh, helpful thought come through. Then it looks like, well, worry is a good idea. Rumination is a good idea. Figuring things out is a good idea. Doing active thinking is a good idea. Analyzing is a good idea. Making predictions about my future is a good idea. That will look like a good idea to the extent that you think that that's how you have gotten to where you are today. So the reason that I kept, many of you know that I suffered from anxiety for over a decade, and the reason I kept that anxious thinking so alive and important and meaningful and serious and, gave it so much energy and attention in my everyday was because I truly believed that if I didn't do that, I wouldn't get anywhere. That I just, anywhere. Like, I wouldn't get out of bed. I wouldn't put food in my body. I wouldn't go to my university classes. I wouldn't hang out with my friends. Like, I kind of just thought, I'm the one keeping my life together by thinking about everything and analyzing everything and making decisions about everything. And if I just kind of let that, if I didn't do that, if I didn't take that on as my job, literally nothing is going to get done, because I am the sole kind of decider or creator or power behind, like, my mind is what is making me safe and okay and successful and in action and doing things and being a good, friend, daughter, girlfriend, whatever. And when I came across this conversation, I realized, oh my God, I've literally lived my whole life in this misunderstanding. I thought that thinking was my job. I thought that decision making and planning and strategizing and analyzing and comparing and contrasting and evaluating and all of the stuff, ruminating, worrying, replaying scenarios, going through what ifs. I truly thought that I had to do that in order to be okay in life, in order to be living my life. And so of course I did that. Every human being does the best we can given how we see life. Of course, if I thought that that was necessary, that's what I did. But fortunately, really fortunately, I started to see a deeper truth, that is so not, A, necessary, and B, helpful. That is like the most counterintuitive thing. If you want to have more ease in life, if you want to be happier, if you want to be more free and more open and more relaxed and more joyful and more creative and more loving and more compassionate and just live life as it's meant to be lived, have an easy, joyful, beautiful time in life, you have to realize what the mind already has going for it, and that our attempts to kind of think our way through life or get our way through life by constantly, doing shit in our mind is actually the only thing getting in our way. So what the email I got this week about rumination really reminded me is, when it looks like rumination and worry and strategizing and analyzing are good ideas, when it looks like that's what I need to do in order to get what I want, of course we're going to do it. But it's seeing that that's actually a misunderstanding, that that's actually not how the mind is designed to be used. It's a way it can be used, absolutely, but that same way that we get good ideas in the shower, or on a walk with nature, or cuddling with a dog, or hanging out cooking. If you look across the board, you'll see that people will say different things. They'll say, well, for me it's when I cook, or for me it's when I'm, playing with my pets, or for me it's when I'm, skiing, or when I'm boating, or when I'm fishing, or when I'm, and you'll see that people have different situations in which they let their mind relax into vacation mode. But what all of it has in common is they're not actively thinking. They're not actively analyzing. They're not evaluating. They're not worrying. They're not ruminating. They're not what-ifing. They're just letting the mind be in its natural state. And then they say, oh my God, I love fishing so much. I love skiing so much. I love, cooking so much. I love showering so much. I love being on vacation so much. And it's nothing to do with the circumstance and everything to do with the fact that they're letting their mind be in the default state. They're letting it be used as it's designed to be used, as it's most effective, as it's most helpful, which is very paradoxically us not doing anything to it at all and just kind of letting it be in this open, relaxed, receptive state. So if rumination and worry is something that you feel is, kind of a problem for you, it's not something you have to tackle head on. It's not something that you have to get disciplined about or, heaven forbid, use strategies or tools or techniques to conquer. Really, it's about seeing, I do this because it makes sense given how I understand the mind. And it's looking in the direction in however way that looks, whether it's these weekly videos, whether it's books, whether it's webinars, whether it's programs, whether it's one-to-one coaching, whether it's group activities. Like, there's a million and one ways to be in this conversation. And it's looking in this direction of how does the mind actually work and what is actually going on that allows us to naturally realize, wait a minute, if I want to have a happier, peaceful life, analyzing is not how I get there. Ruminating is not how I find more joy. Worrying is not how I find more peace of mind. And the minute we see differently, we do differently, because the old way of living just doesn't make sense anymore. And so, like everything, it's so much easier than we think. There's so much less to do than we think. And it's really all about looking to what is actually true and universal in all of us and letting that unfold in our lives. So thank you for being here. I put out new videos every Friday, so please subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment or question below. I love hearing from you guys. If there's anything that you want me to talk about, if there's something you're confused about, just anything that you would like to contribute, please leave that below. I respond to everyone. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.